Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be continuing doing my reviews of the Rocky movies. This one is going to be a review of Rocky 4. You know what? Really, essentially, the movie where Rocky ended the Cold War. Believe it or not, conspiracy nuts focus this movie and ending the Cold War. Of course, it stars the same cast of characters as you had in the previous movies, except of course there's no more Burgess Meredith because he was as Mickey because he was killed off in the last film. But of course this one we have to have another new villain. And of course this one is a Russian wrecking machine. My name is Drago, who is like a huge, like a 6 foot guy, Russian guy. Doped up on steroids, actually, and they do show that in this movie that he was doped up on steroids. And of course, I should also mention this one is the shortest one of the Rocky movies in terms of time. It was only an hour and a half long, so it's very, very short. And this movie was like really, unlike the first 3 movies, this one was way too over the top. It's very cartoony, and it's very silly, and they did in a way, especially for the first half of the film, they upped up the humor so much that was really ridiculous, which we're going to get into. Of course, this movie does pick up where the last one left off, with Rocky and Apollo doing this little sparring in the ring in Mickey's gym. Which I should mention that Mickey, when he died, in his will, he willed the gym to Rocky. So that's why he had to have the ring on the gym, which will play a part in the. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, it was playing a big part in the 5th movie. But kind of trying on 4 for this video, on the 4th one. And of course, this time they put in the whole US versus Russia thing into this movie. Of course, in 1980, the United States boycotted the 1980 Olympics because the Russians invaded Afghanistan. And of course, 4 years later, when the Olympics were in LA in 1984, the Russians decided to boycott that, and the U.S. practically won almost every event in the 1984 Olympics because the Russians weren't there. Anyway, so of course the next year, that's when the movie came, Rocky 4 came out. And the irony is that Rocky's then wife, Bridget Nielsen, played the wife of the villain, Ivan Drago. Of course, when Apollo finds out that it's going to be a Russian guy going to be involved in boxing, he wanted to be the first one to fight him. And of course, Paulie says, "Well, you think that Rocky should beat this guy first, or have a match with him first?" And Apollo says, "Yeah, he should have him first." And then of course, but I want to get him first. It's something I believe I want to get him first. Because I don't want Russia to show us up anymore. So, of course, they do have the fight. And, of course, for all you New York sports fans out there, Warner Wolf was in this movie. For those of you who don't know who Warner Wolf is, he was a local broadcaster who would do the local sports news here in New York City. First on the ABC affiliate, and then on the CBS affiliate here in New York. And now he's pretty much retired. He's living in Florida now. But to see Warner Wolf in 1985 in a Rocky film, it was really pretty funny. Because I think that one of the 2 original announcers you saw through the first 3 films, excuse me, I think one of them died. I think Bill Baldwin, died. I think Stu Nahan, he was really the first one you see in the first 5 or 6 films, Stu Nahan. So they always give him a part. But as one of the announcers, I think the other guy, Bill Baldwin, I think he might have died or something. So he wasn't in the 4th one. So you had Stu Nahan and Warner Wolf announcing the fight with Apollo Creed and Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. And of course, you had a big fight. And of course, in the first round, Apollo's getting his ass kicked in the first round. And of course, it looks like that, hey, for some stupid reason, the referee didn't call this fight. He could have easily called this fight. Calling it a TKO. He didn't stop the fight. And Rocky says, "Look, maybe we should stop the fight." And he says, "No, don't stop the fight. Whatever happens, don't stop the fight." And so when Paulo comes in for the second round, he didn't last that long. In the second round, he had this one big punch. It's going to be from Drago, and of course he died. He literally dies in Rocky's arms again. And the second time, a major character gets killed off by Stallone, and of course what happens is, of course, Rocky again wants to fight Drago. And of course, he had a whole huge one. He had about maybe three montages, like 2 or 3 montages. One big montage, and then you had Adrian, who wasn't that thrilled that Rocky was going to get in a fight with this guy because she was afraid that he would get killed too. But of course, we all know what happens at the end of this movie. Anyway, I'm going to explain this. But then you had another big training montage, and of course, you had. One interesting thing, what Stallone rolled in was interesting. With Rocky doing training old school, like chopping down trees, moving boulders, lifting people up in a court. And of course Rocky's trainer, who was Duke, Apollo's old trainer, goes, "No pain, no pain, no pain." And as Rocky's lifting weights and stuff, and he's saying no pain, to Rocky. And I guess maybe give some lines or something. He's going, "No pain, no pain." And then of course you had the match, which is in Moscow on Christmas here. And of course, guess what happens? Rocky, of course, obviously big shock. He wins at the end, and he knocks out Drago in the last round of the fight, the 15th round. And of course, during the match, when people were starting to root for Rocky, and of course at first they were booing the shit out of him, as was the opposite with the Apollo Drago match, where the crowd was booing Drago and cheering for Apollo. This time was the opposite, and of course this is when Nikolai Volkov, who was the professional wrestler, would be very happy to see the Russian national anthem in the end of the movie during the Rocky Drago fight, because he always used to sing the Russian national anthem, so I knew what it was because I used to watch Nikolai Volkov in the wrestling. Anyway, so I digress. Of course, the fight was definitely, out of all the fights that he had, this was even the best fight montage and the best fight that any of the Rocky movies. I mean, you can argue with me till you're blue in the face, but with the Apollo Creed matches or the Clubber Lang matches, but the Drago fight was the best match that Rocky ever had within the four films, and it was really. I have to say, I mean, even though that I could joke about, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, about how bad and how predictable Rocky IV was. I mean, the only thing that was good was the 2 fight montages which I mentioned, and of course the Rocky Drago fight. But the rest of it, leading up to it, even the death of Apollo, that was depressing because, like I said earlier, he killing off a major character. But the fight was the best one. I mean, there was a whole build between Rocky and Drago for the whole fight. And of course, there was one scene that was in the trailer, but not in the movie, when Rocky wanted to have this a sanctioned fight, or a championship fight, and the American Boxing Commission said, "No, we're not going to sanction this fight." So it's not it was not a championship fight. It was just like it's kind of like wrestling when you have like a revenge match when one guy sneaks beats up another guy from behind, like a sneak attack, and they have a championship match in the next pay-per-view event or something, or the next week on, let's say, Monday Night Raw or something like that. But that's what they did in this movie. It's like almost like a revenge match, and that's what they did in Rocky IV. It was like a revenge match. So it was not sanctioned by the American Boxing Commission. It was not a championship fight. It was just like a straight gorge match between these 2 guys. And I mean, it was kind of like a wrestling bit, the way that this match was hyped. But now I want to get into the reason why this movie was more cartoony than the other Rocky films. Even though Rocky 3, in my Rocky 3 review, I mentioned the wrestler versus boxer fighting match between Hogan and Rocky, or Hulk Hogan and Rocky, I should say, or Thunder Lips. That was Hogan's character was Thunder Lips versus Rocky Balboa. This one was really over the top cartoony, because after we saw the opening scene with the recap of Rocky 3 with the match in Mickey's gym between Rocky and Apollo, Rocky comes home and they have a little birthday party for Paulie, and Rocky got Paulie a birthday gift. So okay, great. What is it? Well, you got me a car or something? And I said, no, got him a robot. So you have this stupid robot, and it says, "Happy birthday, Paulie," in a computerized voice. And then later on, you see the robot again. When Apollo's visiting Rocky and telling him he wants to fight the Russian first, here comes the robot again, and Apollo goes, "What the hell is that?" Oh, and Paulie goes, "Oh, that's my girl." So he has the whole bit, and Paul's going like, "What the hell am I doing in this movie?" I mean, the type of a look. And then, of course, he had bits when they were leaving to go to Russia to train with Rocky. You had the robot again. It says, "Be careful with those bags. It belongs to the boss." And it says, "Hey, don't forget to brush your teeth. You're supposed to go, stain your teeth." I said, "Hey, enough, busting my chops." That Paulie says to the robot, "When I come home, I have her tubes tied when I come home." and the chauffeur is like looking at like it was nuts, talking to this robot. And of course, and also during the fight, you had the robot, Rocky's kids watching the fight, and the robot had a beard, a Santa Claus beard, and the Santa Claus hat on, going like this. Yeah, the movie was all like this, getting excited over the fight. I mean, it was really, really, really cartoony. And not only was the robot bad, but the bit of the robot, but also another thing that was bad was you had an appearance by James Brown in this movie. Because the first fight, the Apollo Drago fight, was held in Las Vegas. And with it looked like a studio audience. It looks like they're there to watch a Ray Newman concert. We've been all dressed up, a lot of women with strapless dresses, remembering tuxedos. And I mean, it was really ridiculous. It was silly, and you had James Brown singing "Living in America" song. I mean, the song became popular because it was in the movie, but it was so totally unnecessary. It was that bit was so padded out. It was 5 minutes. Oh God, let's get on to let's get on to the Drago fight. Because we want to see Drago fighting Apollo. I want to see how dangerous Drago. I want to see Apollo get killed in the ring, and they waste 5 minutes with this whole James Brown bit. Because I really like to see, the doctor comes out saying, "I'm sorry that Apollo died," or stuff like that. And I see with the doctor after the fight with Apollo, examining Apollo and stuff, coming out with a statement saying Apollo got hit so hard that, that from Drago and kills him and all that stuff. That's why I would love to see a scene like that instead of 5 minutes of James Brown. No, I'm not knocking James Brown. I mean, he is a music legend. The king of soul and all that stuff. But it was totally unnecessary cameo by James Brown. And he had to say, "Oh, I feel good." Well, Apollo was not going to feel good in about 5 minutes. But that's why the movie really got cartoony, and it was really predictable because the movie reviews for Rocky IV, when it came out in 1985, everybody told everything in the movie, told everything was going to happen. So when I went to see it, I think it was the first weekend. Everything that was going to happen. It wasn't a surprise. It wasn't a shock. It was just ridiculous. I mean, Rocky IV, like I said earlier, the fight was good. The training montage was terrific as usual throughout the Rocky films, but it was over the top over the top cartoony. You have to say it. It was over the top cartoony. And so this one, and think of the first 5 movies, of the original 5, I should say. This one was, I think this one kind of got like the worst reviews. I think even though Rocky 5, which I want to get to in another video, got worse write-ups than this one did. But I think this one was worse than Rocky 5. I have to say. I think this one was worse than Rocky 5 because it was so over the top cartoony. So let me review Rocky 4. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews not only on my YouTube channel at RowdyC.com, that's all WDY, and then at C.com. There's a whole page to the Rowdy Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website as well. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.